an announcement.
Oh, regarding my husband, Officer Howard Morgan, that was shot. Yes, that was shot 28 times. He's still alive. And you know, he had a trial. And it happened in 05, 9 years ago.
Okay.
So he had the first trial. The jury found him not guilty of firing his weapon. All right, he was a railroad police officer. Around the corner from our house, which is not that far from here, he was coming home. The police said that he was going down a one-way street with his lights off, which was not true. That's not true.
Okay.
They said they followed him for a number of blocks. Well, if you fired him, if you followed him for a number of blocks and you didn't activate your overhead light, what was the purpose? If you were following him and you did not run his license plate, let's look at the reality of this. When they activated their overhead lights around the corner from our home, he pulled over because he was a police officer to let them by, thinking it was an emergency procedure that was taking place. He pulled over to let them by. They cornered him and said, he said, "Why are you stopping me? I'm a police officer." He showed his identification. They didn't believe him. He said, "I'm a police officer for the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad." They did not believe him. They snatched him out of the vehicle. At that time, he was 54 years of age. Afro-American man by 4 white Chicago police officers. They tackled him down to the ground on one knee with his hands behind his back. He had his weapon on him. The witness that said Mr. Morgan never pulled his weapon on the 4 officers. They saw the gun, they panicked, and they said, "Gun, gun, gun," with 911. They began to shoot him 21 times in his back and 7 times in the front part of his body. He survived. They took him to Mount Sinai Hospital, put him in under John Doe. This was 9 years ago. After all of that, while he was in the hospital shackled to the bed, they charged him with 4 counts of first-degree attempted murder, 3 counts of aggravated battery, and 1 count of aggravated discharge of his weapon. That was 8 counts. They put a $2 million bond on him. He had never been in trouble at all. And after that happened, we were so grateful with Minister Kelley and so many others that were helping, Wallace Davis, Kelley, WBON, and all of you that are here supporters of that. We were able to raise the 10% of the $2 million bond, which was $200,000 to release Mr. Morgan. He was in the hospital for 10 months before I could really raise the bond money. They sent him to 26 in California, where he had to sleep on the floor. As he slept on the floor, they had a trial. But he was bonded out because God allowed us to, an anonymous donor came and said, "I don't believe he's guilty," and put up $187,000 and said, "This man has got to go free."
Wow.
After all of that, he was out for 6 years, 2 months, and 6 days. They had the first trial. The first trial, the jurors of his peers said, "We don't believe this man is guilty." Found him not guilty of shooting his weapon, not guilty of shooting at that officer, and not guilty of shooting at that officer. That was 3 counts. You still had the 5 remaining, which was the 4 counts of first-degree attempted murder and 1 count of aggravated battery.
Ms. Moore.
Yes.
Who was the attorney? Who was the state's attorney?
Anita Alvarez, and the assistant state's attorney was Dan Groff Jr., which was the same Dan Groff. His father was the one that had something to do with the massacre of the
Fred and Mark Clark and Fred Hampton.
Yes. And all of this took place. And I'm going to wrap it up real quick, because at this point now, they had a trial that said he was not guilty. How can you have a second trial when the trial judge said we're going to retry you because of the 2 white women in the courtroom that said, I don't want to go on anymore.
How can we help this morning?
All you can help is on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, February the 26th. I know it's going to be a little cold, but I need your support. Howard Morgan was sentenced in the second trial, the same thing, 40 years in prison. But what he didn't do, he's in Dixon prison now, and we're giving a rally for him Wednesday at the Thompson Center. At the Thompson Center this Wednesday at 12 o'clock from 12 to 1:30.
Is there a number on
bring
your
your
flyer?
clothes, there's a number here, and it's very, I need you all support.
Okay.
My husband is a good man.
Yes, ma'am.
He has taken care of me and our children and our grandchildren, and I am not. I'm fighting for my husband's life. He's now 63 years young. He is totally disabled, shot 28 times,
Yes, ma'am.
and they're not giving him the medical attention that he needs. But how can a man shot 28 times that's still alive? That's got to mean something in your
Yeah, I
heart.
know,
If
it's
they
not-
rang my doorbell, they can still knock on your door. Driving while black, around the corner from your home, why would my husband pull out his weapon and shoot it? No. You found out he was a police officer, he was black, and what did you do? You found out you messed up. You went to the round table and got it right. They said my husband allegedly shot Officer Timothy Finley with a bulletproof vest. The bulletproof vest never showed up in court. And the van that they shot up that night, they took the van and destroyed the van. That never came up in court. So your evidence was squashed, it was torn apart, and now guess what? My husband is in Dixon prison with a 40-year sentence on him because the trial judge said, Judge Crane, Clayton J. Crane, we do not see this, the first trial, we're not saying it was a first trial, we'll say it was a preceding. How can you be, if you didn't shoot your weapon, if the jury said you didn't shoot your weapon, how can you say that I'm guilty of the 4 counts of first degree murder, a first degree attempted murder? I didn't shoot my weapon, but that wasn't good enough. It's too much. So you see with the property, with everything that's going on,
So is he going to trial by jury or trial by the?
it was trial by jury the second time. You already had a first trial. What
Right.
about double jeopardy of the Fifth Amendment, the Fifth Constitution of the United States?
Right.
Double jeopardy.
Yeah.
How can you try me for the same time, the same place, same people, same thing, and there was no other weapon? They beat Mr. Morgan. They burst his eardrum. They cut his leg from the knee down to the ankle bone and shot him 21 times in the back and 7 in the front. And then you put him in Mount Sinai as a John Doe. But when you found out who Mr. Morgan was, now you had to go to the round table and make your story up. And that is not, I am not fighting for my husband's life. I want all of us to come together. I've been in this 9 years. My husband was taken into custody after the second trial in 2012, and he's in Dixon prison now, freezing to death in that cell, and he's innocent. So you see all of the victims, the young people that have been shot by the Chicago police. What do you think about Mr. Howard Morgan? That is a senior citizen. If they did it to him, you look around the room and see, around the corner from your house, your house, your house, your house.
Yeah.
But he lived. And now, I'm just saying, come and support us. I'm asking you to please help me fight for the life and the freedom of my husband. My husband was a good man. I loved him very much. And I have to do all that I can for this Afro-American man that's 63, that's there. And we have 2 children and 3 grandchildren. I want my husband home because he's innocent. So why should he be there? The petition, we already have 50,000 signatures on our petition to say Free Howard Morgan at freehowardmorgan.com. Shoot him while he was down on his back 21 times. And do you think I'm not going to stand on the promises of my husband, a good man, a just man, and say, this is my husband, and yes, I'm his wife, and yes, if I have to stand and go outside in the street, in the cold, I would do it. because he should be free. That's just what it is. And I want him home so that I can take care of him. If God has to take him home, I'd rather him be with me. Because why should he spend his days there and go and I'm not with him? Thank you. And I need you all support. I need you all support because my husband does not deserve to be there. And I want him home so that I can take care of him. If God has to take him home, I'd rather him be with me. Because why should he spend his days there and go and I'm not with him? Thank you. Oh, thank you.